is there more soldiers on the other side of that EMA? Did they go pick up new soldiers? Because, you know, now that it's weak, to kind of give y'all a little background, right? I love trading. I've done trading for a long period of time, and oh, come on, 4:30. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome to another session as we are trying to knock out what's going on in the market. I know it's a lot that's happening, especially with all this chop going back and forth, but I don't want y'all to panic and just jump into any unnecessary trades, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to kind of like do something reckless, lose some money, so that way they can go ahead and treat you like liquidity. Do not become somebody else's liquidity. All right, so that said, I'm going to be going over a couple of tickers that had popped up during this day. I am trying to send over the message to everybody. Just give me 1 second. Let me make sure I have everything that I need here. This gotta go, this gotta go, and this gotta go. Alright, let me go ahead. Alright. Alright, where is my... It's just missing. Hold on. Let me just do a new one. So the game plan that I want y'all to kind of look at is the fact that you see this. This is a 30-minute chart on NQ, and all they're doing is literally going back and forth. So it is choppy. This is the definition of choppy. So do not just go ahead and just race to try to get into a trade. I'm telling you this right now, it will set you up for the okie doke, and then you'll be like, oh, I was just green, and then out of nowhere you just lost all your money, unless you stay at the extremes and make the money through that. But even that is risky amongst itself. So just keep that in mind as you're looking for a trade. Let me let them know I'm online. JD is online. Let's get that out there. View link. All right, boom, boom, and send it out to the atmosphere for everybody to go ahead and jump in. All right, so that is what I want to go ahead and get. And here's the fun thing about it. I get alerts that pop up, but it because of this chop, I knew it was going to be very questionable. We got contract expiration. We're in quad witching. This is when all contracts are expired. If you don't know what you're doing, put that volume down. If you don't know what you're doing, guess what ends up happening? You end up being fodder for somebody else's casualty of war. All right. So do not just go ahead and go in reckless. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what came up this morning, starting with what ended up happening with UNH. Now, UNH did something that was very interesting because, you know, we always aim for TP1 when it's all said and done, but we never got a clean close below on the nemesis, right? And what ended up happening, if you were riskier, you probably would have got in with the entry at 338 and then played it down to the downside. But yeah, that's tricky, right? Because what if they came back and sweeped here? So maybe light leverage, make it the TP1, maybe re-enter here when you notice it and then get down to there. Maybe hold on to a runner because you're going to get to TP2. Like, those are the things you could probably do. They did kind of stair step it from when I talked about UNH yesterday. I was trying to play this to the downside, but they just basically grabbed whatever liquidity they could find, and then it kind of got a little bit of a push to the downside. So that was our signal around 9:30 saying, hey, we hit the level. That was your retrace, but this was your official close below. If you waited for this retracement, you would have got into your TP1 and be done with it. Let's go ahead and look at Affirm. Now, Affirm did something that was a little disrespectful, but again, when you get a close and you get a push and it's 80 to 90% to your TP1, I want you to take your money. It gapped down, and if you waited for it to touch the TP, you would be upset, and I will understand why you're upset. But what I won't understand is that you'd let a green trade turn red. Do not do that. Focus on what you're supposed to do. Take your trade, run with it, and you'll be fine. Let's go over at SoFi. I might go ahead and post this because I think SoFi is taking a sweet time to get a break above. So for y'all that's watching right now, go ahead and take a level to here. We're going to probably aim for the target of $27, $28. If it can close above 26.37, do not, and I repeat, do not get in because you have feelings. Get in because it closes above with a strong bullish, preferably 15-minute candle. Or if you want to drop down to a time frame that you feel comfortable with, like a 5-minute, I wouldn't go to 1 minute, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 7 minutes, or something like that. By all means, you can do that. I would say aim for, sorry, I kind of hit my microphone on that. I would say 26.37 is the level that you need to see on SoFi. It holds that. We sweep this liquidity. That momentum should bring us to $27. Take your profit off of TP1 if you only use one contract. If you have multiple contracts, take something off the table. And then you can aim for the contract expiration date. I would say maybe, what's today? Today's Tuesday, maybe this week. Yeah, let's do Friday, $28 SoFi. As long as it closes above 26.37, you probably should be able to pull out at least a good 50 to 75%, depending on the parameters. If it hits TP2, between 20 and 30% if it hits TP1, as long as theta doesn't beat you up in the process. All right, so let's go ahead and keep this party going. So that, and then that's where UNH, so UNH already alerted saying, hey, we got an entry over here. Now your take profit should be there, and that's exactly what it was saying here. So let's go over to swing trades. Let's see if there's anything that stands out. There was ARM. I think I posted ARM. Let me make sure before I shoot myself in the foot. I don't know if I gave y'all ARM. Did I give y'all ARM? Did I do ARM? No, I did not do ARM. Okay, so the ARM is one of those tricky ones because their option contracts are usually all over the place. They're in the semiconductor space, if I'm not mistaken, but they're international. Yeah, they're in the semiconductor space. I marked off a 2-hour here, and I was curious if we could get there, and you can see they kind of fought with it. That was the entry, good solid gap down. That would have been the entry, and then TP2 got hit, and you see what happens. Listen, folks, I'm not trying to say that I know everything. I would never do that. But I will say this, the probability of something just flying through TP2 is not as high as hitting TP1, and then TP2 more than likely is going to be a violent retracement. Look how much of a bounce that it did right here. It doesn't confirm that it can close below here. Just like TP1, that was a gap down, and people started taking their profits when it got to like the midway point between TP1 and TP2. Just plan accordingly, and you'll be relatively fine. I promise you, you will be fine. All right, let's go ahead and keep this going. We got Merck. If you don't know who they are, they're in the healthcare space. This looks really, really good. So go ahead and take a look at contracts. Actually, I need to post that as well. Let's go with Merck. Entry is already relatively established. So if you want to take a shot at this, I will not blame you. Stoke is pointing down. MACD is crossing, and it's below the 0 line on the 2-hour. So we're talking about close below $98. TP would be about $93, $94. So I would say aim for a contract at 94. Let's go ahead and do this in a very fun way. Let me grab a contract chart for Merck, and let's see what that would look like. I would say go with the January 16th. To be safe, if you want to do something a little closer, just make sure the open interest is a little bit high so that way you can be able to get in and out of that trade safely. All right, so I got $90 puts. That one has a high open interest, but the 95 is the best, and they're going for $1. All right, let's go ahead and see what this option chart looks like real quick. Let's do that, let's do that, and let's bring that up. Boom, boom. Let's look at today. So not a lot of, it's a little splashy, right? But again, we're gonna do this for a swing trade. All right, so right now it's going for like 140 and some change, and since we already have our entry set, then we're talking about between 131. Let me bring my cursor. Between 131 to maybe 144 should be a good entry on a contract. So just find your best price. Yeah, if that MACD starts to cross up on here, we should be relatively good. We're already on the bullish side. A little bit of profit taking that happen over here around 1024, and I think that's because of this long wick. You got an order block that's sitting right here. But if this is a retracement just to put in a fair value gap, we probably could get a nice little strong move. Take your profits at $96 if you only got one contract, because we're really close to the entry. If not, we probably could go ahead and keep on going down to that 94 and be in the money with $95 puts. That would be great. That would print something very, very vicious. So look out for 99.37. So let's just call it $100. If it gets back to $100, get out of the trade. So 98.26, we already got the entry established. Aiming for 96.38, but our take profit is really going to be 94 if we can really swing that. All right, maybe we'll even get a gap down. You never know. Never know. All right, let's keep this going. We got Live Nation. All right, I call it Live just to kind of remember who they are. Got a Live club in itself, so it just reminds me of it. All right, so we got a 2-hour chart right here. And we need, in the next 2 hours, a close below 138. Now, it's a little heated, but we do have a bearish divergence. So this could be an entry to sweep the buy-side liquidity. Ooh, oh, that could really be a good one right there. Let's see what that option contract would look like in itself. And we'll probably wrap up there. I do have a follow-up meeting. If you want to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button, that way you can let your friends and family know that I bring y'all some gems here and there. That would be great. Everything here is powered by Trade Hero. Appreciate y'all, because this is how we get our stuff going. All right, so we got very wide spreads. I don't like the spreads here. I would say the best one, if you wanted to take a little bit of a risk, but would be 120. January 2026, 120. If you want to be a little riskier, because I think the spread's going to be better on the December ones because it's so close. Yeah, the spreads are terrible there too. So let's stick with the January. So January 2026, I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to grab, let's put that there. And I'm going to grab the one that said 80. Where are you? Did you disappear on me? Oh, there you are. So 120 puts and 130 puts. These are the two that I'm comparing right now, right? And if I switch this over to today, do 15 minutes to kind of make things make sense. All right, so there's very little volume here. You could kind of see that right there. So that's okay, because again, we're trying to catch it at the bottom so that way we can make the most money in itself. The 120 has very little volume, and you can kind of see that. So it's about 70 cents. I would say I want to see it hold this base. So anything by here would be fine. But what would be a stop loss would be this level at 140, right? And that would liquidate this down to like the 60s, 50s, and maybe even 40s right about here for the 130s, and then the 120s, and then the 130s. It'll probably bring you back under the 142s. So right now we are somewhere around 133. What was the last one? 145. Okay, none traded today, so there was no mark. So yeah, so this is just something that I would say if you can wait for the spread to happen, that'd be great. If you can't wait, this one already has a mark. So they had a 70. The last one was 58. So yeah, we probably could get close to $58. That'd be great, but I don't think you're going to get that. But I would take anything above 65, 66. That would be a good one. But again, you're going to have to give it some time to wait and see if that thing can pan out. 2 hours, okay? Don't jump in right now. Let this candle close under here with some type of consolidation, and then we could get some type of extension. Let's see what the weekly looks like. Weekly is trying to curl back up. Yeah, just be conscious of that. We want the daily to kind of give us that momentum, and then that probably would pin the weekly back down, being that's on the bearish side. They're just coming back for reprieve. Oh yeah, that monthly looks like they're trying to give it all the way. This might be just a retracement. See if they can get that fair value gap on the monthly. They can't get it, and then we just dump all the way back down. So yeah, Live Nation, 120. You know what? Let's do it. 120 puts is probably the best ones to go with. You should see that in there. So I'm gonna post Live Nation. I'm gonna post Merc. I'm gonna post SoFi. Now SoFi might happen super fast. So if you are going to do that one, this is a scalp, a day trade. So make sure you wait for that entry and take that money. Try not to swing it overnight either, because a lot can happen as well. All right, that said, I went over everything. I appreciate all of y'all. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button. Share it to your friends and family. Let them know I give you great information. And I will see y'all this afternoon when I recap what happens. Yeah, have a great day. Bye-bye.